You're listening to the West Ham is Why We Drink podcast. Like hanging at the pub with your West Ham mates. On this episode, we hit What Was That and revel in our victory against Leeds. We do some pole dancing and social shenanigans, and we introduce a new segment called the West Ham Plug. Now let's join the crew of the podcast. West Ham fans who are convinced VAR is a bloody joke.
Oh yeah, I did that again. I can't help it. It's like I want to just get close to that microphone. I just want to caress it.
Okay, and welcome to episode 48 of West Ham is Why We Drink. You just got into our mic check there. This is Wayne speaking. I'm the one that isn't having a loving affair with this microphone. And who was the person who was heavy breathing in the background? Would you want
That'd be Rebecca, Specky Becky. I'm trying to do things to the microphone. Why? That isn't even. I don't know what that voice was.
Sounded nothing like Rebecca.
I know. I should be like, my name's Rebecca. No, that's rubbish as well. What does she sound like?
Oh, Adam, don't Adam. Don't Adam. Oh, Adam.
That was better. That was better. I mean, they're still all shit, but that was better.
They're awful. But at least we're in a good mood. This podcast.
We've got a nice special podcast today, and
we have indeed.
We're excited. There's the countdown, episode 48. That means soon we're going to be episode 50, and I think, I mean, we're not going to give anything away, but we're hoping that by the time we get to episode 50, that maybe we can do something a little special.
Yeah, we're going to do it without Adam. It'll be wonderful.
Good, because I hate this bloody podcast anyway. I love it. Please subscribe and 5-star review us, unlike that arsehole from last week.
Oh gosh, I cut all of that, most of that stuff out because I was like, it just sounded like us poo-pooing him. So,
oh really?
Like sour grapes. So
yeah,
you obviously didn't listen.
I haven't listened to it yet. No, look, I have mean to, but I just don't have like a schedule.
It's Christmas. It's tough. It's tough.
But I am an episode behind on my own podcast, so
that's terrible. Catch up over Christmas, will you? Should we just go straight into what was that then?
Yeah, let's do it.
What was that?
Okie dokie. So, you know what? I thought that I predicted 2-1 for that match, but I predicted 2-0.
Yeah, I know. I did wonder what all the gloating was about. I'm like, well done, Ray Wayne. You managed to get the result. You managed to get who won, right? I mean, I guess for you, that is good.
Closer than you did. You said 3-0 to Leeds, you plonker.
And I'm so glad I got it wrong. I just had a really bad feeling that we would, especially when news started coming out that Masuaku wasn't fit. So I'm like, oh my God, the only 2 times we'd played 4 at the back this season were not pretty.
Well, I'll tell you what, you've got to say the first 10, 15 minutes, it didn't look pretty. The 4 at the back was looking a bit dodgy.
Yeah, it was a shaky start, but, you also got to take into account Bielsa because Leeds play such attacking football, good football. Yeah. I was actually on a Leeds United podcast called The Roaring Peacock.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Was that fun?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. They were good lads. One thing I hadn't thought about is that, so for Leeds fans, they think Calvin Phillips is basically their Declan Rice. He's a little bit older and he's not quite as good, but he's their version. They love him because, the difference is that he decided to sign a new contract with Leeds to put him there long term, whereas Rice, who knows?
I've got a good feeling about Declan. I really have.
Well, you know what I said last season? I said if it'll all depend. I said if by Christmas time we're actually somehow doing well, then I think that we can convince him to stay. And here we are, and we are doing really bloody well. So,
I tell you, that match, I haven't seen us play that well in a long time. I mean, it was consistently a good performance all around apart from one person.
I was waiting for you to. I was waiting to pounce on you to tell me everyone was good.
Who you go first this time? Who was your top shelf, mate?
That's a very good question.
It's tough to pick one, isn't it? Because they all played so incredibly well, apart from the one person.
And even he wasn't horrible.
Yes, he was. People are trying to guess who it is right now.
They'll know. I mean, it's obvious. I think, maybe Ogbonna. I'm going to give it to Ogbonna.
Why?
Well, because
of his goal.
One, because he scored. Also, like that little cross when for some reason, they were still up from a corner and you had like Balbuena and Ogbonna were the two furthest forwards. And was it Ogbonna that chipped it in for Balbuena? I think it was that way round, right?
I think it was the other way around, wasn't it?
I can't remember. But I was close to saying Aaron Cresswell just because he was solid in the game, but just to give him some credit, really, because a lot of fans, not me, but a lot of fans have been writing him off for a long time.
Well, that's strange that you said that because he's actually my top shelf for the match.
Oh, really? Nice. Why did you put him there?
Well, almost for the same reason that you just mentioned, the fact that everyone's been slacking him off all season. Yeah, if you look at the way he's played, especially since we've gone to the three at the back, he has been incredible. He's completing more passes than anybody else. He's chipping it in more than anyone else, and his placement kicks are they're just brilliant.
Hang on, sorry. Whoa, his what?
I'm going to call him placement.
What is a placement kick?
I'm trying to cover
a placement kick.
I'm inventing something. Okay, so his free kicks and his corner kicks and his set piece kicks. Okay, I was trying to cover all three of them. I've invented a new phrase for all three of those. But anyway, the reason why I've given it to him is because he's just been incredible. I mean, the man has been unbelievable. And I've got to be honest, I was a little bit worried. At him being out there on that left spot for this match, and I'm like, I don't know. But he has just been incredible, and it was tough to pick who was the top shelf because Declan Rice had a blinder of a match.
Yeah, I thought Jared Bowen was lively. Benny Harner, he was pretty lively. Bowen,
once again, I think he had a great match, but his vision again, it's like sometimes I just wish he'd. I don't know. I think he's still feeling his way into it. He's brilliant, but for me, Safal was just exemplary.
Yeah,
he was just exemplary. But I'm giving it to Cresswell because everybody moaned all season long about him. You would have thought he was the worst player that's ever pulled on a West Ham shirt, and I think he's shown in the last 5 or 6 matches why he was Hammer of the Year all those years ago. So he's back to form.
And I think as well, people forget that was his 200th Premier League appearance for West Ham United. And I mean, in that, he's represented England 3 times since he's been, but he's been at the club now for a long time.
Just brilliant.
And so I think credit where it's due. I don't think, because of Mark Noble, I don't think Cresswell gets I don't think he gets what he deserves because next to Mark Noble, I may be wrong, but I'm pretty certain that Cresswell is the most capped West Ham player after Mark Noble. I'm pretty certain.
Most capped?
As in he has earned more, he's had more starts, more games for West Ham than anyone else in the current squad.
Capped has got to do with playing for England, you plonker.
Well, all right, capped for the club.
Capped for the club. Come on, Adam.
Well, it's still an appearance, right?
Making something up and you made up something yourself there. So you're saying your dregs of the barrel then is definitely Haller?
Well, of course it is for both of us. So there's no doubt.
It can't be anyone else, can it? I'm so disappointed. I can't believe we spent 45 million on this guy. I just can't. Well, I can believe it because that's just the way West Ham luck goes, isn't it? I mean, we buy Anderson for 35 million and he's a piece of crap. Then we buy Haller for 45 million and he seems to be a piece of crap. So are there any players out there who would like to get 50 million that are a piece of crap? Come on, please.
Maybe. What I will say that's quite funny is, so my friend Rory, who's been on the show before, I basically said, he texted me and he said, I'm not watching the game, how we play him. And I said, well, it's been a decent game so far and Haller's been shit.
Which his is reply, every game, isn't it?
But listen to his reply, which is genius. He's like, well, I don't know what happened, But I'm guessing that his terrible touch has been tested against a high press team like Leeds. I was like, that's exactly how they got a penalty.
Not only his terrible touch, but his hold-up play was ridiculous. It was non-existent. He's like a big, fat donkey who can't do squat.
When he had that overhead kick that was straight at the keeper's arms, it did make me think, like, had that have gone in, would he still have been my dregs for this game?
Yeah, I'm in the same mind about that because, it was... when he does go for it, he does go for the dramatic, doesn't he?
And I think, the difficulty is that you get to a point where I'm so frustrated with him that now everything he does, I'm like, I'm on his back. I'm watching because I'm like, you know what? 45 million is a lot of money. And if it was a youth player that was up front and did the same thing, I think I would have less of an expectation.
I can't remember where I saw it. Somebody had said, well, you know what? That was an amazing overhead kick if that had gone in. But the deal is, like you said, you don't spend 45 million for a 3-second burst of brilliance and then sweet Fanny Adams for the rest of the match.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing with him. He's just... He's just so frustrating because you can see that there's a potential in the man to be incredible, and everyone says, "Oh, he's not playing in the right formation." But I'm sorry, mate. You got to pull something out of the hat eventually, and he's not. He's not. The only time he scored is when we played like second or third division clubs. That's it. It's just so depressing to watch him. But other than that, just brilliant. What about Ben Rama, eh? I like this kid.
He's lively, but I think, again, decision-making Sank is going to have to learn because he did, take a couple of pot shots from distances that I wasn't that impressed with. But overall, I'm excited about him. I'm glad he's there. I think I'm fine if we set up like that.
Oh, I am totally. Totally, and I think we're going to be setting up like that for a while because of Masuaku being out.
Yeah.
So, you know what? And I think that explains a little bit why he had a couple of dodgy games. And I think Moyes must have just turned around and said, look, just get the knee surgery because it's affecting the way you're playing.
Yeah, maybe you're right. So let's look on to next week. We're playing the week, don't we?
How do you know who's playing the next week? Do you ever confirm with any of those apps to confirm who's playing next week?
Yeah, of course. I always look at my Come On You Irons app. In fact, I'm going to click it right now and pretend that it didn't just say reinstalling because I haven't been on it for a little while. Just cut that bit out because I'm sorry.
In fact, let's just cut to their advert, shall we?
Good idea.
For West Ham fans everywhere, this is the ultimate football app for you. For match highlights, interviews, and the best West Ham videos and podcasts. Download the free COY Irons app now from the App Store and Google Play.
Yeah, that was definitely much better than you trying to reinstall it. It wouldn't have been much fun for people to listen to you reinstalling the app for the past 30, 40 seconds.
But I do have it now.
I know you do. I've got it all the time. But and the fact that they carry our podcast in as well is really good. So next match, Wednesday, right?
Yeah, I think so.
The dreaded Palace. We don't seem to have much luck against them recently, do we?
Really? I feel like we do have a lot of luck against them.
I feel like we don't.
The good thing about technology is that with a couple of clicks of a button, I can tell you our previous results against.
Tell us what we did against Palace. Have a look, because I seem to think that we've had like kissing your sister results with them.
I remember smashing them when I was deported because I went to that game with Kelly. Back. So in the past, how far back should we go?
How have we done in the last year?
The last two times we played them, we've lost 2-1.
Well, that's what I was referring to.
They were both in fact, within a couple of months of each other, October and December of last year.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. You know what the most amazing thing about Palace is?
What?
Their ground smells like piss.
Doesn't surprise me.
It totally smells of pee.
So what do you think the score's going to be?
Against Palace, I'm going to say 2-0.
To
West Ham, of course.
Well, you say of course, but I'm going to go with 2-2.
2-2? You think a draw?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that what you think, or is that because you just don't want to say what I've said?
No, I think it will be a draw. I do, because I think their goalkeeper has been exceptional. So
with them, you saying they're going to score 2 on us, do you think QR?
All right, let me say. All right, I'll say 1-1 then. 1-1.
1-1?
Yeah.
Okay, who's going to score for them? Yeah, bonus point.
Whoever takes their penalties, because we get a penalty against us every single game.
Benteke, right?
But yeah, if it's Benteke, I'm going to say Benteke. And I'm going to say for us, Jared Bowen's going to score. So what do you think?
Like I said, I think it's going to be 2-0, and I think it'll be Bowen and Heller. Now just like the guy off.
Well, those are hard. Oh, he does like to get a goal against us, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But we'll see. They seem to be a pretty dirty
game on
team.
Monday as well, haven't we? The week after, on the 21st, we're playing the dreaded Rent Boys.
I'm excited about that.
I'm looking forward to that match. What's your prediction for that?
I think we're going to beat them 2-0.
I was going to say that again.
Well, you've already done it for that, so change your goddamn tune.
Okay, I'm going to say 2-1.
I mean, the league is just so tight. I mean, gosh, it's just
and Chelsea
ridiculous.
Lost today to Everton.
Yeah, I know. So, I mean, it's insane. And then the City United game was boring. And do you know what? The last thing we'll say about our performances, I've watched a lot of the big teams play as well. And seriously, West Ham are one of the most entertaining teams to watch in the Premier League right now.
You know, our matches have been brilliant lately, haven't they? I mean, it's been good.
They really have.
We've been up and down the pitch, whole bloody match. I mean, some really entertaining football.
Yeah, I've been really impressed. And
I think we've got the best squad we've had in quite a few years. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it just if only we had a 45 million striker who could score goals.
45 million keeper.
45 million striker.
A $45 million striker that is a keeper.
Yeah, so. I mean, he probably would. He'd be better in goal than Roberto. Yeah. I'd bet on that.
Let's start a new campaign. Haller for goalie.
Oh my gosh.
I got a very interesting text from a Chelsea supporter.
Is this that Barry guy?
Yeah, Barry, who owns the Londoner. We've become pretty good mates. But you know when he texted me this week? He goes, "You're a lot of no fun anymore." Because he can't text me and have a razz on me about West Ham. So I texted him after the match today and said, "Oh, I thought that you were playing Everton today." And he's like, "Yeah, we were." I went, "No, you didn't play at all, mate." Well, all I heard back from him was "F off."
Oh, I love it.
Oh, blimey. I like it having a season where we're actually doing well. It doesn't quite feel like the 2015-16 season because we don't have like a brilliant player at the time like Payet, but
yeah, true.
It does feel good. I think we all around we've got a better squad than we had back then. Should we get that dusty, sultry voice of Miss Courtney on?
Dusty? I mean, that does not sound good considering how sexy she sounds on this.
Oh, she sounds like, ooh.
I thought for me, you're like, she sounds like you. I was like, whoa, no, she doesn't.
She sounds dusty, delicious.
No, now it's time for
shenanigans.
Presented by Hammers Poles.
See, don't you think she sounds a little like, maybe dusty is the wrong word, like a little like, shady. I'm just like, ooh, blimey. Oh, blimey. Well, thanks to all our social media followers. Find the links of all of our social media accounts on westhamIsWhyWeDrink.com.
Thank you. Come again.
Hello.
That's just like, thank you for, come watch, listen again.
Come listen again. I hope that's what it was, mate. So, did you find anything on Twitter this week?
Well, what I found, I can't remember if it was on Twitter or if it was on Facebook. And I was going to bookmark it, and then apparently I didn't.
Oh, come on, Adam.
Oh, I've just got a visitor. I think it's Adam Price from Dallas Hammers. Come in here. I'm just finishing up recording the podcast. Do you want to come say hello to people as you're part of the Dallas Hammers?
Okay.
Welcome, Adam from the West Ham Hammers. The shit version of Adam, by the way. Obviously, I'm the good Adam.
I am not the shit version. That is you.
Oh, wow.
We allowed you back in. Be thankful.
Well,
And then you killed me.
But Adam, you love me, don't
It's
you?
just part of the game.
Wayne said, but you do love him, right?
No, God, no.
Oh my God. That's it. Knock him off.
Oh, my
Knock him
God.
off.
All right, yeah, no more of that.
There we go. We'll forget that. We all know he's a trumper.
All right, yeah, we'll relax that. So what I did find, it was one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen in my life. Like a little bit of sick came out, and I know that I'm talking about a picture again, but I don't know what it was. It was, I don't know. There was bits of red on it. Like it was absolutely disgusting. And I don't know what I think Lily had done something to what might have been your feet.
Oh, yeah, that was on Facebook.
That was vile.
It was Snowflake, our elf, on the shelf that painted my toes. And you know what's funny is Kim texted me. She went, "You should probably take that picture down." And I'm like, "Why?" And then I looked at it because I looked at it first just on my phone. And then I pulled it up on my computer and I went, "Oh my God, these look like the Crypt Keeper's feet."
They do. I was like, "What the hell are these?"
So dry.
Oh my God.
They look terrible.
It was they're honestly, I think, the ugliest feet I've ever seen in my life.
It looked like the Crypt Keeper has had his toes painted.
I'm like,
How
oh my
that
God,
little
I used to
elf
play
did that?
footsie with those feet.
Well, they were painted red. The toenails were painted red. So
Anyway, that was my social shenanigans.
it was terrible. So listen, I got something from Frank Diorazio, who's been.
Hey,
talking to
Frank.
this-
Thanks for messaging us and getting involved. We appreciate it.
Yeah, he's a good lad. He's turning into our one of our biggest fans. And he sent me this. He said, "I'm sending you a still and the thread it came from, showing what seems to be a violation from the Leeds penalty shot. Something to discuss on your next show, perhaps."
Do you want me to discuss it? And by discuss it, do you want me to give the final word on it?
I think he's talking about obviously the penalty shot where Fab supposedly jumped off his line. Let's discuss it. Let's discuss it because first of all, I think it's a stupid bloody rule. It's hard enough for a goalie to stop a freaking penalty shot anyway.
True.
And if he was off of it, he was off it by like a millimetre. It's ridiculous. So, what do you think?
Well, I mean, first of all, the rule is stupid.
Yeah.
Second of all, so the Leeds penalty, the rule is that you get a warning first. So if you come off your line the first time, you get a warning.
Mm-hmm.
Now, had he have been off his line the second time, that would have been a second yellow card. He'd have been sent off, which is outrageous.
It's ridiculous.
And also from the still, I'm sure you've all seen it. I mean, Bamford was basically like level with the ball by the time the penalty was
5 yards into the box.
But so let's say had he have followed up and scored, they'd have probably then redone the penalty.
Yeah, because they only consider that encroachment if he's actually influences the play, right?
Yeah, and they're saying it's not any effect because it went in. So
Yeah.
I mean, either way, thankfully we won the game. But once again, VAR. I mean, it's the same as last week. Like it is unbelievable to me that we're allowed to use VAR to see that he is a millimetre off the line, but the entire ball can swerve out into the stands, and we don't have VAR for that. And this is the problem.
Makes no sense.
The
whole VAR. Does any other country have these issues with VAR like we're having?
It's a good question. I don't know. Because other things, like there are so many, VAR doesn't look at, the number of times in a match, it happens almost every game. There's a corner that should be a goal kick or a goal kick that should be a corner. Now, goals get scored from those corners all the time. And you're like, well, VAR showed that shouldn't have been a corner. So, but we allow that to happen? Oh, yeah. VAR doesn't check that.
You know, I think they should do it a little bit like the NFL does.
Yes.
And America's been doing it for years, and it works smooth over here. You should give each manager 3 opportunities to challenge a decision.
100% agree. They need to do that.
Yeah, just do that, and that way you can still celebrate your goals, and a manager can challenge the decision if they think that it's a wrong decision. And then if the VAR folks look at it and say, oh, it was wrong, then they can overturn it. But only if it's so incredibly clear. But all of this, like, checking every damn thing is bullshit. Total bullshit. Can't stand it.
No, I agree. And something else we both agree with is that, once again, Snap Bowl Saturdays by Hammer Polls shows that I'm better than you.
You're not better. You're only 20 votes better than me.
I get more votes than you every single time.
You don't. Not every single time.
Pretty much.
No, one time you got 64, and I think I got 270. That was the week.
All right, so you won once. Well done.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know, you're in the lead now. There you go.
I belong there.
There you go. But the last episode, we actually put a challenge out, didn't we? To say, get onto Hammer's polls and see if you can beat me and you. Which it wasn't that difficult for them to beat me. But somebody actually scored 854 votes on Hammer's polls on Snap Poll Saturday. Unbelievable. Who was it that did it? At my WHUFC. Yeah. I think there's something to do with more than a podcast. I think so. But they asked, isn't this interesting? Should Haller be sold in January?
What would you say?
You know what? I'm going to go through first to show you. I'm in two minds, mate, and I'll tell you why I'm in two minds. The votes came up as 48.7% yes and 51.3% no. So pretty evenly matched there. Okay. In fact, more of them said no. And here's the thing with Haller. He's so annoying, and we discussed this earlier on in the podcast as well, right? How annoying it is that he just can't seem to find the back of the net. But you can see that the man could possibly be brilliant if just, I don't know, does he just need a bit of luck? I mean, that bicycle kick, if it had gone in, would have been the only thing we were talking about that whole bloody match.
Well, yeah, I mean, a bit of luck would help, but I also just think, quite simply, we wouldn't get close to 45 million for him. So it just doesn't make business sense. I mean, I guess if they're trying to just milk the club out of as much money as they can, maybe they will. Maybe they will sell him for 10 million just so they can run away with it.
I think somebody would pay 20 million for him. I think somebody would pay 20, 25 million.
Frankfurt, they might want him back.
It's possible.
They might want him back for 30 million.
But it's
nice little profit.
And the talk is, of course, that we're going to be getting Josh King in. Now, if that happens, then could he possibly be the missing link that we need to actually make Haller look like he's half decent?
Maybe. I doubt it, though.
I don't know. Yeah, right. I mean, he really is that incredibly bad.
So what? Well, your birthday's coming up, which is, for all our listeners, Wayne's birthday's on Christmas Day. So if you remember him on Christmas, just send him a little message because, you know, he's a miserable bastard. It will make his day to get a nice happy message.
Or do you think before we go into my birthday, we should tell everybody to check out Hammer's Polls on Twitter at Hammer's Polls and on the web at www.hammerspolls.com?
Nah,
let's not.
Nah, let's just talk about your birthday.
Okay, let's just talk
Love
about
you,
my birthday.
Ian. Thank you, Hammer's Polls.
Presented by Hammer's Polls.
While we're thanking some people, should we thank some more people? I want to thank West Ham Unofficial. This is Jake Cox. He's a 13-year-old. He literally interviews about 10 to 12 different people, and he's like...
I haven't agreed to do this yet. You said, shall we thank people? And I didn't say anything. You just went straight into it. Typical, just railroad everything through. Don't bother asking anything.
That's all right.
I agree, though. I think you should
That's all right.
him.
I'm just trying to big up a 13-year-old kid who's doing a good time on a channel.
Is that a YouTube channel or is that a podcast?
It's a YouTube channel.
Okay, see, get the details right if you're going to, drop it.
Well, I was halfway through it and you interrupted me.
I love winding you up. I didn't listen to it because you're on it, but I might give it a listen.
Just skip to the half-hour mark. I'm only on for a little while now, but he does a great job. You know, for a 13-year-old, he's super professional. Like, bless, he does a really good job. So, you know what? Just go and subscribe to him because hey, why not? I mean, just help the kid out. West Ham Unofficial. Subscribe to him. He'd appreciate it, and get involved.
And I want to give a shout out to my wife, Kim. Because, as you said, it is my birthday on Christmas Day. Yeah. And she always goes completely out to make sure that I feel very special on Christmas Day. Even though it's like Christmas for everybody else, she makes sure that I have a birthday cake.
Does she wear knee pads?
She does. She makes everyone sing me happy birthday. No, she doesn't.
Actually, she doesn't make you sing?
I'm just going to cut that.
She doesn't make you sing or she doesn't put the knee pads on?
I'm cutting all of that.
No, don't cut it. This is the best part of the podcast.
So, but she does. She makes everyone sing happy birthday to me, and we have crackers over here in America. We've actually just bought our Christmas crackers, so we'll all be pulling Christmas crackers, and she makes everyone wear the stupid hats. So, we have a blast Christmas. We really do.
Sounds really fun.
It's a lot of fun. And that brings us down to our new segment called the West Ham Plug. Today on the Plug, we have a special guest who is an author. So let's do the West Ham Plug.
We're joined here with Abe, who's written The Man, the Myth, the Legend. Him and Bill Gardner have wrote a book about the man, the myth, the legend that is Bill Gardner. So, Abe, thanks again for coming on the show. We massively appreciate it. Looking forward to doing this. Thanks for your time. And I guess the first thing I want to know is, how did this all get started?
When you go to West Ham, you know... Well, certainly when I did, which was the early 80s, you get to hear this name. And we all knew that it was kicking off around the country. We all knew that other teams would get a good old lump going to Upton Park Station. But we never knew who was organising it all. And the point of the book is that it was never built. It was never built. But because of Bill's prominence within that community that went away to West Ham matches in the early 70s, where you could have got about 30 West Ham fans. I mean, imagine that today. You've got like 3,000 going away.
Yeah,
we're talking back in the day. We're talking about 30, and in those days, you had, from what Bill tells me and from what's in the book, you had to fight to get to the ground, and you had to fight to get back home. And a lot of people, for whatever reason, still say thank you to Bill.
I'm from back in that era, Abe. I'm in my late 50s now. Okay. And the one thing I remember about Bill is we all had a healthy respect for him. And it was true. I didn't go to a lot of away matches because, number one, it was too bloody expensive, and number two, my mum would have slaughtered me for going up there and causing trouble. But like you said, I think just the fact that Bill was such a big geezer and he was just so prominent, he got labelled with a lot of things that really weren't fair. I always remember him as being a lad that was respected and someone that would always help a West Ham fan out.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. The thing about the book is that it's not really about, I don't even want to use the H word, because it was a terrorist movement at the time. Yeah. The thing about Bill is that he came from a certain background, and that background meant that he didn't have a family. And the first family he found that accepted him was West Ham. Yep. It's as simple as that. Now, in order to ensure that he maintained a level of self-respect, what Bill would do was make sure that when you went to away grounds in the 70s where you weren't welcome at certain stadiums, that you were not going to be beaten up.
Yep.
Not as long as Bill Gardner was there. And that's where his reputation comes from. And that, I think, is where a lot of the gratitude comes from.
So how did you meet him first, Abe?
The thing is, you either know Bill or you don't know Bill. When I was going, I knew him or I knew of him, but I only knew Bill as a mate and as a friend in 2016, really.
Okay.
Interesting.
And that was because it was the last year at Upton Park.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do something. I wanted to write a book. I wanted to do a play. I wanted to do a show. You know, I wanted to do something because that was my home as well. And as luck would have it, I spoke to a guy called Dennis Lepine, who is sadly missed. He passed away this year.
Yep.
And he said, okay, well, phone this guy. And I said, who's this guy? And he said, well, phone Bill Gardner. And I dropped the phone.
I mean, like, what went through your head? Like, what were you thinking?
It was everything and nothing, really. It was like, I mean, you know, you can support a team and love the players. You can like a particular political party and love the a particular MP. For me, you know, are you telling what? You're telling me to ring Bill Gardner?
Yeah.
I'm like, no way. I'm like, nah, because you know, if you know West Ham, you know West Ham, and if you know West Ham, you know Bill Gardner. I did ring him, and he was chopping wood, I believe, at the time in the forest. With an axe.
What Bill Gardner? I mean, of all of the things, yeah. So I picked up the phone and called Bill Gardner, and you know, he's out in the woods chopping wood. Like, you can't make that shit up, can you? You just can't.
I know, and I'm not even joking. I swear to God, I'm not even joking.
Did he know that you were going to be calling him, Abe? Was he prepared for it, or did it come out of the blue?
No, Bill is always prepared.
Yep.
So was this in 2016, did you say?
That's right.
So at what point did you decide that we're going to write a book together?
Bill essentially is not a very outgoing type. And he was quite worried about some of the books that have been written in the past, I think.
Yeah.
Not only citing his name, but using his name.
He'd been painted a certain way in other books that have been put out, hadn't he? Let's be honest here. Was there something that he said, you know, I want to do the book, but I want to be portrayed this way in the book, Abe? Is that what it was all about? Not
really, no, because in terms of his terrorist activity, it's never really been up for question.
Right.
I spoke to a journalist this year, and the journalist said to me, "Oh, what you mean, Bill Gardner, the ICF leader?" Now, Bill Gardner was never the leader of the ICF.
He's never involved in them,
right?
Yeah.
And we can all go about shouting ICF this and an ICF that, but you know, there was people like Carlton Leach and Cass Pennant, who you know that was the ICF, right? And they were all people that looked up to Bill. So when it came to doing a book, I thought Cass did a brilliant job. you know. But I also thought there was a part of Cass's book that I wanted to explore a little bit more, which was the background to Bill, the behind the scenes, the going back to his childhood and that. And when we got talking about that, that's where the book comes from, because it's pretty shocking.
When you get into those backgrounds, I mean, I'm sure some of that stuff was going to be really hard for him to talk about. So how did that work? Like, would you go to his house? Would he come to your house? Like, where would you work, and how did the dynamic between you, like, how did you get into some of those hard topics?
Bill come to mine. Bill would come in and we would do 3-hour sessions.
Wow, that's a long time to sit and talk.
I could sit there and listen all day, which I did. Bill's a very emotional person, I think it's fair to say. And so am I. So I think on that level, I think while he was speaking, I was crying.
Oh, my. Was there anything that you discovered in interviewing him that really surprised you?
Yeah, lots. I mean, you know, if you talk about Bill Gardner's reputation in terms of West Ham supporters, and if you parallel that, or if you put that into sub-universe, they're two different people. And I think that's what Bill tries to get across in his book. He is two different people. The guy admits to having mental health issues. And the thing is about Bill is that it depends what Bill you meet on the day. He's the bloke that would give you his last pound note. He's the bloke that would give you time to talk. But he's also the bloke that would batter you senseless. If you took the piss out of anyone that he saw, right, he'd do you. He would do you. But that's principles. That's his principles.
Was he always the same with you, or did you get to see both of these sides of Bill, like, in the process of doing the book?
No, it wasn't easy. No,
okay.
It wasn't easy. You know, I'm a journalist. I'm taught to ask leading questions, and Bill can see a leading question coming a mile off.
Yeah,
fair.
So it wasn't easy, no. But I think at the end of the day, what it was trust. As long as Bill trusts you, you're okay. But if you come across as something that he's not particularly happy with, then you'll come unstuck. That's all I can say. The opportunities to do it, let alone do the book, meet the guy, know the guy.
Yeah.
For me, it's. I mean, he tells a great story about Ray Winston in the book. Ray Winston ain't got back to me, you know what I mean?
Was there any point when you were asking a question that you were like, oh, shit, I know I'm a journalist, but maybe I shouldn't have asked this?
Great question, lots of times. I mean, Bill talks a lot about his family, his background, the abuse he suffered. That was hard for me to talk about because I'm a West Ham fan. If you're a West Ham fan, then you're a Bill Gardner fan.
Yeah.
But that was difficult for me. Yeah, without a doubt.
Were there any of those disagreements as you went through this project?
Like, you don't disagree with Bill often, but you know, I don't know. I mean, I'm 5 foot tall, so I've had the best rows with Bill that you can tell. Do you know what I mean? About what should go in and what shouldn't go in.
Yeah.
And he's always trusted my professional integrity, I guess. In terms of stories, there's one or two that didn't make it, and there's one or two that will stay with me till the grave, without a doubt.
If you were going to say to somebody, you know, you really need to buy this book, and there's one story in it that you really enjoyed listening to Bill tell it, what would you say that story is?
Do you know what? I think it's more than about a story. I think it's about drawing the curtain down on 30 years of British football violence, because it's gone, it's ended, and those days need an analysis. They need a objective look at, and they need to look at that period in time in terms of why they happened, because you won't get that now. You will not get that now. There's too much CCTV, there's too much inter-club action. But at the end of the day, I think it draws the curtain down on football hooliganism in Britain, and I think it says who won.
Who would you say that Bill would say won?
He wouldn't.
So who would you say?
Bill Gardner.
And we'll wrap up a bit here, Abe. In working with Bill, you've obviously, how many hours do you reckon you've spent with him in the course of doing this book?
Oh, I mean, in terms of working with Bill, it's not been easy because there's been a lot of stuff that he did not realise he needed to let go of. And neither did I.
Yeah.
So that's why the book's in two parts. His personal life and his West Ham life.
Well, I love this, and it's so. I mean, I want to implore all of our listeners to get this book. You know, the man, the myth, the legend. We're going to be talking about it more as well coming on. Now, I'd like to do something a bit fun with you, Abe, if you're up for it.
Go on.
We're West Ham is why you drink. So, what would you say Bill's favourite drink is?
Red wine.
Okay, now mine's a little bit different. If you had to guess what his shoe size is, what would you say it is?
Fuck me, 16. Oh, he's got big plates.
What do you reckon his favourite colour is?
Claret. So it's only our question.
They're easy questions. They're just like...
Piece of shit.
I'd like to say it's Wayne's idea, but it was mine.
It was Adam's idea. What did you say his favourite film is?
I know what his favourite film is. El Cid.
Oh, blimey, that's an old movie.
Yeah.
All right, and last question, Abe. Who's his favourite West Ham
You're
player?
very bossy, you know that.
Well, you know, I try not to be.
You should listen to a couple of these podcasts, Abe. He's more than bossy, and he says I am. And he doesn't like allude either.
That's just, this bastard edits me. He edits me out every time. Well, Abe, I've got one more of these shit questions for you.
Okay.
This is the last of the shit questions.
Okay. What? When are you going to start your good questions?
I've been doing them all podcasts. You've been telling me that. So this one, I want yours and Bill's. So who's Bill's favourite West Ham player of all time? And then tell us who yours is as well.
I can't tell you Bill's.
Who would you guess?
Bobby Moore.
Who's yours?
And this is going to be controversial. Dimitri Payet.
That is controversial.
But he was a bloody brilliant player for us. I mean, that regardless of how he left, he was brilliant.
You know, I mean, you can't deny the man.
He made you want to watch West Ham.
You know what I'm saying?
He brought hope to the team. And you know what? And it's funny you mentioned Dimitri Payet, because I see Bill as the sort of person, back when I used to go to matches back in those days, he's right. You had to fight to get to an away match, and you had to fight to get home. And somebody like Bill was a person that would always help you. And it didn't matter whether you were 6 foot tall or 5 foot tall.
Did you meet him?
But I saw him from a distance, and like I said, I didn't move in those sort of circles. I was all out into the game, but he was so well respected because he was known back then as a guy that if you had some problems, that, like you said, Bill would give you his last pound note and he would help you out.
Yeah.
Well, Abe, I want to thank you so much for coming on talking about the book. It's super.
Not at all, bruv.
Do you want to remind us once again, Abe, where they can get the book from and the name of it?
Amazon. Just type in Bill Gardner, the man, the myth, the legend.
That's brilliant. That's on my Christmas list. My missus better listen and get it for me.
Scroll down and it's there.
Perfect.
Nice.
And at the moment, it's number 1 in the Amazon bestsellers list.
Oh, that's brilliant, mate.
Because we self-published.
That's
That's
class.
brilliant.
We've done that on our own.
Yeah.
Because I had faith in the West Ham family.
Yep. West Ham is a special club. We are a fan.
I'll tell you that. Supporting West Ham is not like supporting any other club. It ain't. It just ain't.
We we really appreciate you coming on the show. Thanks so much for talking about the book.
No, thank you.
Okay, well, Abe, thanks so much for joining us here on the podcast today.
Not at all. It's been a pleasure.
Really was a pleasure, mate. Send our best to Bill.
Will do.
And we'll remind everyone, if you're looking for something for a last-minute Christmas gift, go to Amazon and get that book because it's a blinder of a book. And, Abe, come on your irons, mate.
West Ham through, and we will be there.
That's right, mate. One big family together, mate. What are you doing for Christmas?
Nothing.
Nothing? That's good. That's good. I'd invite you over, but I don't want you to give us anything.
Yeah, to be fair, I'd rather sit at home on my own. No, my friend Wes is coming over. I think we're just going to hang out, drink, eat, play games, something like that.
Something like that.
I mean, I would love to be able to go home for Christmas, but unfortunately, due to the virus, that's not possible because the US won't allow me to come back from the UK to here. So I'd have to be in another country for 2 weeks to quarantine.
It'd be lovely to go home and watch a match. It really would be. That would be brilliant.
Yeah. Well,
I
hopefully
miss
soon.
that, Desmond. I tell you, as soon as this whole COVID thing is over, I'm booking a ticket. I've got to get back home. I've got to get back home and I've got to watch some football. Hopefully, but the way it's going over here, it looks like that probably won't happen until after the season's over anyway. So it's obviously going to be in the 21-22 season I get back home. But I'm looking forward to that.
Well, we look forward to meeting you all there.
We do.
So
thank you. Spending lots of time in the pub back home.
Thanks to Abe. Check out Bill Gardner, the man, the myth, the legend.
And thanks to our other partners at Hammers Poles and ComeOnYouIrons.com. Go check them out. And your turn.
Thank you to everyone that listens to this podcast. It means the world to me. And so what did you write there?
I said thanks to all of our listeners, and please go to Apple Podcast and rate and review us.
No, we love you. Thank you, all of the your regulars that listen. We appreciate you.
We do appreciate it. We really do. We enjoy doing this, and we enjoy getting your feedback when it's good. We ignore it when it's not. So, but there's really nothing left to say other than what's that 5-letter word that we say?
Stay positive, love your life.
That's not a 5-letter word. But
it's a 5-word. It's a 5-word letter.
And raise your glass. What are you drinking, by the way?
Nothing.
I've got water.
I had a Pepsi with 0 sugar, but
so maybe we should just do 1, 2, 3 and cheers.
Cheers! Oh, sorry. 1, 2, 3. Cheers!
Cheers! Merry Christmas!
Baby bubbles in the air, they fly and so high. But my dreams they fade and die. Legends always hiding, I look everywhere. I forever like bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air. I forever like bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air. I forever like bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air. They fly and so high, but my dreams they fade and die.